Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be regarding Battlefield 6 and basically regarding the title of this video, can Battlefield 6 save the FPS genre or the first person shooter genre of video games? And real quick, I wanted to say that today's video is what it is because of the fact that, I just didn't have any ideas going into this week for this week's weekly video. Kind of ran out of things to want to upload, and I'm currently in the time and where there's not, again, we're in such a we're in such a bad place right now with video games, to the point where I just can't sit down and just play one game for a long enough amount of time to keep my interest. I keep moving back and forth between games to the point where I can't stick with one anymore. It's been that way for the last year or two now, and we're at the point where I'm just trying to figure out and see if I can find any ideas to make videos out of. And for this week, I kind of ran out of some things to want to upload. So we're going to be talking today about Battlefield 6. And I know last week I uploaded my weekly little clip around Battlefield 6, and I'll link that down below in the description, because I'm actually going to talk about some of the things that were shown in that video today. And in the gameplay you see in the background right now is Battlefield 1 campaign, and the only reason it's the campaign and not the multiplayer is because I'm currently playing on an Xbox, and right now the Xbox version of Battlefield 1 has a massive game-breaking bug in it that prevents you from ranking up in multiplayer, and to the point where there's literally no point to even play the game's multiplayer. So I just got campaign footage for you guys. But nonetheless, let's just talk about Battlefield 6 today for this video. I wanted to talk about, can this game be the one to save the FPS genre? Now, you're probably thinking, why Battlefield 6 of all first-person shooter games would you think would be the one to save the first-person shooter genre? And that's because of the fact that this game specifically, it being one of the next FPS games that will eventually come out within the next year, has a lot riding on it, as far as not just that IP, the Battlefield IP, but overall, I really think there's a lot riding on Battlefield 6 as far as the first-person shooter genre goes. Because we're in a big stalemate right now as far as what the FPS genre looks like when it comes to certain IPs like Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield, Destiny. There's a lot of other first-person shooter genres out there right now that I could name off the top of my head that are not really in the best of situations right now. Some are, but more aren't, though. And that's the point of this video. We see that IPs like Call of Duty, and this is just generally how I feel, are in the dumps right now. Call of Duty is in a really bad state right now. Games like Halo, for example, and Halo Infinite. We all know Halo Infinite got delayed till next holidays next year, and the reason I use Battlefield 6 over a game like Halo Infinite as the game I think could save this genre is because of the fact that Halo Infinite was delayed a full year. And that worries me. It worries me that a game like Halo Infinite, with the amount of time that they had to make that game, had to get delayed another whole year since its original release back in December. Guys, think about this for a second. We were supposed to get Halo Infinite in the holiday of Christmas, around Christmas time, last year. We were also supposed to get another game from another first-person shooter genre, in Far Cry 6 in February. We didn't even get that game. And that's another FPS genre IP, Far Cry. And I love the Far Cry games. Or at least Far Cry 4 anyway. I think you guys have heard me say that before. But those games worry me, though, because of their delays. Battlefield 6, while it hasn't been delayed yet, it has a release date set in stone for next year. Or at least around winter time of next year, near the holidays. And so far, to bring last week's clip into this, so far we've heard a lot of good things about the game. We have heard so many good things. Number one, the game is going away from the World War eras. We're not getting a World War II or a World War I Battlefield game again. This Battlefield 6 has already been set and reported that it will be set in the futuristic / modern time period, which is, in my opinion, a really good thing because we haven't had a modern / futuristic Battlefield game in quite a while now. I'm pretty sure we haven't had one since Battlefield Hardline, because Battlefield Hardline was the last game before we got the last two World War Battlefield games. Battlefield 1, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and Battlefield 5, which is actually one of the Battlefields that I never actually got a chance to play. I still have yet to this day not played Battlefield 5. And I don't know if I want to get it now. I mean, I probably might. If we're being honest, in the day and age of video games right now, I'm probably going to pick up Battlefield 5 at some point just for the hell of it. Because, again, as I said earlier in the video, there's not much to really play right now. So maybe I'll play Battlefield 5 at some point, and maybe I'll make a video out of it, defending it, or maybe not liking it as much, because from everything I've heard about the game, it's not as good as previous Battlefields. It's definitely one of the lesser, liked ones out of, the classic Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, Battlefield Bad Company games. It's one of the lesser ones to a lot of people, to the majority of the community anyway. And so we're now getting another modern / futuristic one. Battlefield Hardline was the last one we got. And that was a long time ago. That was before 2016. So it's been quite a while. And not going to lie, I think a lot of people really wanted to go back to this era. It's kind of like with Call of Duty. Everybody's sick and tired of going back to the eras that are before modern time, like the Cold War era and the World War II era. Everybody's sick and tired of going back to those eras now all of a sudden with Call of Duty. And, I don't blame them. And I also don't blame the Battlefield community for wanting to go back to the more modern futuristic era either. I don't blame them, because at the end of the day, that is what Battlefield grew up on. Battlefield grew up on a modern / futuristic time setting as what its game would be. And then when they went back to the World War era, everybody appreciated it for, in a way, doing it a different thing. And Battlefield 1 proved the point to where you could make a Battlefield game around any time period if you wanted to. And I really, to this day, love Battlefield 1. I don't love it right now currently because of the fact that it has one of the most heinous game-breaking bugs in a video game I've ever seen. But back in the day when I used to play it all the time, it was genuinely one of the funnest games I have ever played. And, I think our time in the World War era for Battlefield is probably done. I don't think they'd ever really need to make another World War Battlefield game. I've got Battlefield 1 already. I don't need another one. You know what I mean? And for the Battlefield 5 people who feel like they've got their own Battlefield World War II game, they probably don't need another one in that time period either. And that's fine. I'm sure at some point, let's be real here. It's going to happen at some point. We are going to get a Cold War Battlefield game at some point. That's just going to happen. I don't see any way around that. We will eventually get a Cold War Battlefield era game. Because they haven't done it yet. And so, if all else fails and they run out of certain ideas of what time period to do, they'll go back to that. But getting back to Battlefield 6. So that was the time period detail. The second thing that has been already reported is that the game is going to be full out military, 128 player base, which all sounds really, really good. Like, guys, we're hearing really good things about this game right now. Now, I will say the two things that I did put in that clip from last week that do get me worried are the fact, and one of them actually very much affects people like me. It does, and it's unfortunate because that means I'm going to have to spend a lot more money if I'm going to end up playing this game. And that's the fact that the game, from the sounds of it, will not be on old gen consoles. Now you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's fine. I wouldn't have expected them to put it on old gen. And guys, when they say old gen, they mean the old gen before this newest gen of consoles. Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That's now considered the old gen. And they aren't making, reportedly, from the reports, they aren't making the game for those consoles. And I currently still play on Xbox One. I don't have a PC, and I don't play PlayStation. I've never played PlayStation in my life. I've never owned a PlayStation. And this is not good news for somebody like me. This is honestly, if we're being real, this is not good news for a lot of people. If I am the people over at EA and DICE, I would really, if this news is true, I would really consider rethinking that decision to not make it for old gen consoles. Because at the end of the day, we just got the newest generation of consoles. We just got them. It's not like you can just brush aside the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 just like that, as if they're already considered the oldest of the oldest generation of consoles. You have to at least still market to those people who own them, like me. Because at the end of the day, not everybody has an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 right now. Not everybody has one. And they're expensive as hell. It's not like people are just going out and throwing, however much they cost. I'm pretty sure it's like, what, $500 each one? I think a PlayStation 5 is... Okay, yeah, no. Each console is $500 right now. Not everybody in the world has that much money to just go and throw around to get a new console. Now, I can't afford it. I just don't know if I want to get it just yet. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for an Xbox Series X yet. Because I think I'm going to... I know everybody gets PlayStation now, or PC, because, really, it's everybody's on PlayStation for the majority. Like, the way I see consoles is that Xbox, the people who play Xbox are multiplayer-driven people who like to play multiplayer games with their friends. PlayStation, for the most part, is a lot around story-driven games, if you really think about it. PlayStation has gotten more in the recent years as regards to story games. You don't really see too many people playing multiplayer-based games on PlayStation. Granted, there are a lot of people, but I would say Xbox has got way more multiplayer-wise. And of course, PC, that's got its own crowd. There's a lot of PC players nowadays. And I don't got a PC. And I don't think I'm going to transition to PlayStation. I think I'm going to stick with Xbox. And I can afford an Xbox Series X if I wanted to. I just don't know if I'm ready yet. Because I didn't get an Xbox One until years after the Xbox One first released. I didn't get it till way later. So, and I know I was much younger then, and I never had a job during that time, so I wasn't making money. My parents were the ones paying for that stuff. So, I think that's a really big problem. And to get to that last big problem is we've gotten some rumors that, if you know who I'm talking about, Dr. Disrespect, who is a big streamer out there on YouTube, he's one of the biggest and personally my favorite. He has said that he has seen a battle royale from the companies over at EA and DICE who are making the game. And if you know me, well, I've probably never said this publicly on the channel before, but I think this is really bad news. I think this is not good at all. I think them getting another battle royale for another Battlefield game, because yes, Battlefield 5 did have its own battle royale, which was called Firestorm, and I didn't play it, but from what I hear, it was a total mess and a total failure of a battle royale. I legit think people stopped playing it after a month. Like, I would see people play it for a month when it first released, and then after a month, I think it just went completely quiet. Like, not a peep of that battle royale after that. Which means it was not good. Or at least it didn't keep people intrigued enough to want to keep playing it. And it wasn't free either. I think you did have to pay for it. So that's a turn. I'm sure that's a big turnoff for a lot of people. At least that game didn't have hackers though. But, we won't get into that. But yeah, but when it comes to Battlefield 6, I really think this game has a lot riding on it. I do. I really do think this game has a lot riding on it in terms of where the FPS genre of video games can go. Because again, I'm a Call of Duty guy. I grew up on Call of Duty. I didn't grow up on Battlefield. I didn't play Battlefield games until Battlefield 4. which was very late into the game because obviously there were a bunch of Battlefield games that came way before that. Heck, Battlefield 3, arguably to a lot of people the greatest Battlefield game ever made. I wasn't around for that time. I didn't play Battlefield 3. To this day, I haven't played Battlefield 3. I've only played Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, and Battlefield Bad Company 2. Those are the only 3 Battlefield games that I've ever had to play. And Battlefield 2 Company was actually the last one I got to play because it came out with backwards compatibility for Xbox for free. So I got a chance to actually sit down and play that game. And I enjoyed it. But those are the only 3 I've played. I've never played Battlefield 3. I've never played the first Battlefield game, Battlefield Bad Company. And of course, I have yet to play Battlefield 5. So I've played 3 and I haven't played 3. And now we're getting Battlefield 6, which will officially be the 7th. Wait, oh my god. I'm sorry guys, I just had a brain fart. I never got a chance to play Battlefield Hardline either. That was another Battlefield game that I never got a chance to play. And I know from a lot of people, from what I've seen, that game was a lot of fun. It didn't keep a lot of people, into it though, I think, as much as they say a game like Battlefield 1 did. But I did see and hear that Battlefield Hardline was a fun game. So I've played 3 and I haven't played 4. So there's been 7 Battlefield games and we're getting an 8th now with Battlefield 6. And there's a lot riding on this game, guys. There is, especially with the state that Call of Duty is in, which is really bad right now. With the state like games like Halo is in, where, guys, we haven't had a Halo game in 5 years now. Almost 6 years at this rate. We haven't had a Halo game in 6 years. If Halo Infinite is a disaster and it fails, oh my god, I guarantee you guys, the video game world is going to be lit on fire. I mean, seriously. I guess to that degree, I guess Halo Infinite in a way has more writing on it to save the FPS genre. But the reason I bring Battlefield 6 into this conversation, except for Halo Infinite, is because Battlefield 6 could be the game to save Halo Infinite if Halo Infinite isn't good. Because why? And I'm sure some of you are like, well, wouldn't it be the opposite if Halo Infinite was good and Battlefield 6 wasn't? Not necessarily, only because of the fact that we've only heard good things about Battlefield 6. We haven't really heard a lot of good things about Halo Infinite. And that reveal that they came up with not that long ago, it didn't make a lot of people happy. That's why I say there's a lot more writing on Battlefield 6 than, say, Halo Infinite. Because at least we've heard good about Battlefield and not so good about Halo. So that gives people a lot of high expectations. And so, yeah. And obviously, I'm not bringing next year's Call of Duty into it because, look, I might eventually make another video for another time about next year's Call of Duty because I feel in a way that game should deserve its own video. Guys, from what we're hearing right now, it's not sounding good. It's really not. So that might eventually get its own video in the future, but I think that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video is like, and it's to that question, can Battlefield 6 be that game to save this genre of video games, the first-person shooter genre? Can it be that game? And I want to hear it down below in the comments, guys. Please comment down below. Do you agree with me that Battlefield 6 can be that game to save it? Or do you not? Do you think some other genre of game can do it instead? I want to hear it down below in the comment section, guys. Let me know what you think. As always, be respectful about it. Have a conversation. Don't be negative don't be negative at all. Don't attack anybody. No name calling, nothing like that. I don't want to see any of that. So other than that, though, guys, that's really going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you are new, please hit that like button and please hit the like and the subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. I've been receiving a whole amount of support lately, guys, and I couldn't thank you enough for that. I really appreciate the amount of support that I've been getting on this channel lately. It's mind-blowing to me where it's heading so far, and I hope we can keep that up. I really do. I hope we can keep that up. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Again, thank you so much for tuning into the video. Enjoy it. And I hope you guys all have a good rest of your week. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, guys.